The point of the electricity is it finds the quickest path to ground. And if you reach up here touching it and you are between it and the ground, it is going to go through you to ground, and that's an electric shock. It's not a cartoon where they just run around with their hair all spiked up. It's the real deal. You're going to end up on the ground, you're going to end up really hurt or even possibly killed. It's something we call Power Town. It's a representation of our town. We got the lines up here, that's the primary, just like we have anybody will see out in their backyards. You got the transformers here, it takes down the voltage from the primary down to secondary voltage. And this secondary wire takes it to your house, and that's what powers your house. So it's just a representation of that and all the hazards that deal with what we do, and we're just trying to get out to the public that just because these are up in the air and you can't see little lightning bolts shooting out of them, that this is dangerous and you want to keep away from them no matter what you do. A down power line, just like they're up in the air, you can't see anything going on with them. No flashes, no nothing. And even when it's on the ground, it could be the same way. It is not a good idea to go up and touch it. And that arc will represent going from that line through that little girl down to ground. On our system, that is 7,000, potentially 12,000 volts right there that just went through her body straight to ground. Okay, next we're going to represent a vehicle. In this situation, it's a bus. If a bus or any vehicle shall become energized, if a line's laying across it, you can't tell, nothing's happened, but that bus is now energized. If you are on the vehicle, the safest bet is just stay on the vehicle because the rubber tires are there to protect you from going to ground. But this is the situation. You got to line down across the bus, and if a little girl comes up and touches it, this is what's going to happen. There are multiple housing additions in this town where you will see these green boxes in backyards. These are the same transformers that are up here on the pole. These are the same ones on the ground. These are not little boxes for kids to run around and play with. There's very dangerous voltage, high voltage, secondary voltage inside here. And this will represent, just like before, if a girl is to go up and touch the insides or even possibly the outside, what could happen. Next here we're going to show what an underground line can do as well. Just like overhead, we have underground lines as well. You can't see, but the problem with that is someone digging, someone probing around in a yard, you have to call 811, you got to get a locate, because if you don't get a locate and you just start digging anywhere, this is the kind of stuff that can happen. And the same goes with, say, this boy here holding the shovel. If he's digging in a yard, and it's supposed to be safe for us to dig a little bit in the yard, but if you get carried away without a locate, and I know it looks kind of cool on video, but that's an instant shock through his body and he's going to be severely injured. Next up, we have a tree, and one of the main things that makes a tree grow is water. Water is very conductive to electricity. So what can happen if a tree gets too wild, gets close to a power line, it'll become a great conductor straight to ground. Anyone touching this tree or in this tree can become very, very injured. This one here goes along the lines of a vehicle we had earlier with the bus. Down power line on a chain fence will energize that entire fence all the way around. It could be a fence, it could be anything metal like that. It'll conduct all the way around, and this will show it. We have it connected back here. It's going to run all the way around this house, and he's going to touch it over here and get the shock. This guy here is holding a ladder, and like I said, if that's going straight to ground, or even if the ladder is not directly on the ground, this guy's holding it, it'll go through him, through his arms, through his feet to the ground, and that's an instant shock. We all know that kites have string, not a big metal pole, but they also make them with string with like little metal fibers inside. We definitely want to stay away from those, because even kite string by itself, without that, is a conductive material. So if she's flying the kite and getting close to the lines, it's the same thing that can happen. That will travel down that little piece of string all the way down to her and straight to ground. It's the same thing, straight through her body, across her heart, could kill her. I would think there's a sense of comfort there, because people see them up there and they think, well, they're up there and you don't physically see anything, that it might be safe. But the fact of the matter is, you go up there and touch that with anything, it's not safe.